Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Oliver. We are learning algebra by working through problems from the Larson textbook. This is section 1.5, so we are starting section 1.5 today, practice A. In section 1.5, we're talking about how to solve a problem. So there are 4 steps. 1, we have to read the problem and understand the problem. 2 is we come up with a plan on how to solve the problem. 3rd, we solve the problem. 4th is we check our answer. In this section 1.5, there are about 3 or 4 formulas, and let's jump to the formula section here. So these are the formulas that we're going to use in this section 1.5. The first formula, as you can see here, is d equals r times t. Distance traveled equals the rate you're traveling times t, how much time you're traveling, the hours. Second one is I equals PRT. I is the interest amount, P is the principal amount, R is the rate, the interest rate, and T is the time, usually in years. And then third formula, P equals I minus C. P is profit. Profit is income, whatever comes in, minus whatever goes out, or expenses. So income minus expenses is your profit. Fourth is temperature, Fahrenheit and Celsius. If you know the Celsius, you can convert that in Fahrenheit. So in Europe, we use Celsius. Here in the States, we use Fahrenheit. So if you know one, you can get the other. So these are the formulas. Fahrenheit is 9/5 times Celsius plus 32. And Celsius is 5/9. And then in parentheses, you have Fahrenheit minus 32. So with that, let's start practice A. In exercises 1 to 3, identify what you know and what you need to find out. You do not need to solve the problem. So number 1, in science class, you're comparing the growths of plant subject to different conditions. Plant A has grown 25 inches. In the same amount of time, plant B has grown 17.5 inches. Plant A grew how many times as much as plant B? So we have to identify what we know and what we need to find out. What do we know? We know the growth of plant A. We know the growth of plant B, right? That's all we know. And then we have to find out basically the quotient, or how many times plant A grew larger than plant B. So it's basically what we have to find is quotient of plant A growth over plant B growth. Okay, that's what we have to find out. And that would be 25 over 17.5, but we don't have to solve the problem. Number 2, your class is making a mosaic mural out of 1 inch by 1 inch colored tiles. So if these are the tiles, 1 inch by 1 inch, and that's what we know. We know the tile, 1 inch by 1 inch tile. You will make a rectangular mural that is 8 feet long and 4 feet tall. So this is the mural. We know the length and the width of the mural. This is 8 feet and 4 feet. And we have to find out how many tiles you will need to make the mural. So we need to find out how many tiles will fit in the mural. So you would need to convert the 8 feet into inches, and then 4 feet into inches, and then basically find the area of this mural by multiplying length times width, and then that the answer, whatever you're going to get, is basically how many tiles will fit in, because 1 times 1 is 1 inch squared. So the tile area is 1 inch squared. So whatever 8 feet in inches times 4 feet in inches, whatever you're going to get, that's the answer of how many tiles you will need, but we don't have to solve the problem. Number 3, your baseball team has raised $240 for t-shirts and hats. It will cost $15 for each of the 20 players to have a t-shirt and a hat. Okay, so what do we know? We know the amount raised, we know, which is $240. We know that it costs $15 per player for t-shirt and a hat, and we know the number of players. number of players is known, which is 20, right? Okay. How much more money will each player have to pay to cover the cost? Because that's what is needed. How much money each player has to pay. So to calculate this, you would need to multiply the cost per player times the number of players. So 20 times 15 is like 300, right? 300. And then you have raised 240. So from 240 to 300, there's a $60 gap. So that $60 gap has to be covered by the number of players, which is 20 players. So $60 divided by 20, you have to split that money into 20 players to find out how much each player has to chip in. So $60 divided by 20 players is like $3. So that's the answer. $3 each player has to chip in, but we don't have to solve the problem. So number 4 and 5, state the formula. What is a formula? Just an equation that is needed to solve the problem. You do not need to solve the problem. Okay, we just have to state the formula. The temperature is 25 Celsius degrees. So C is 25 degrees Celsius. And then what is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit? So Fahrenheit is question mark, and then we have to come up. We just have to state the formula, right? Which is 9/5 times the Celsius plus 32, right? So we can jump to the other section, and that's the formula right here. Okay. Okay. Number 5, you're traveling 150 miles to your cousin's house. That's the distance you're traveling, right? So you travel at a rate. The rate of travel is 50 miles per hour. So you're traveling, the distance is 150 miles. The rate you're traveling is 50 miles per hour. When will you get to your cousin's house? We know the formula is D equals R times T, right? That's this formula right here. D equals R times T. D is the distance, R is the rate of traveling, and T is the time. So we know D, which is 150 miles, R is 50 miles per hour. What is T? So T can be represented as D over R, because R multiplies here. On the other side, we'll divide. So T is D over R, or that is 150 over 50, or that is 3, right? But they're just asking for the formula for 4 and 5. So this is what it is. Number 6, stamp collection. Your stamp collection consists of 120 stamps. Each stamp has either a cancellation mark stamp, right? And then no cancellation mark stamp. So no cancellation mark stamp. Okay. There are 76 more stamps with cancellation mark right here. There are 76 more stamps with cancellation marks than stamps without cancellation marks. Let X be the number of stamps without cancellation marks. So without cancellation marks, right? So this is X. And what is this? So let's say it's Y, okay? Which equation correctly models this situation? Okay. So we know that the collection consists of 120 stamps. So X plus Y, right? The stamps with and without cancellation marks, when you add them up, the collection is 120. We end up with 120 stamps. There are 76 more stamps with cancellation marks. So Y is 76 stamps more than stamps without cancellation marks. So X. Okay, so we end up with a system of equations, two equations with two unknowns. We substitute the value for Y into the first equation, so we end up with X plus, instead of Y, we end up with X plus 76, or 76 plus 76 plus X, or X plus 76 is the same thing, and then equals 120. So it's B, right? Because having or not having a parenthesis here doesn't matter, because the order of operations is addition. We have two additions, So when we have addition and addition, we do operations left to right, but it doesn't matter. Even if we do x plus 76 first and then plus x is the same as x plus x and then plus 76. So that is 6. Number 7, you're responsible for buying the hamburger rolls for an upcoming picnic. Each bag of rolls costs $1.30 and contains 8 rolls. You need to buy a total of 64 rolls. How much money will it cost for the rolls? So it's basically you need to get the cost. So this is the cost. That's what we have to find out. We know that first, how do we get the cost? We have to multiply. What do we have to multiply? We have to multiply the number of bags times the cost per bag. The cost per bag, each bag costs $1.30. So $1.30 is the cost per bag. And how many bags? Well, each bag contains 8 rows, but we have 64 rows. How do we find out the number of bags? It's basically 64 rows fit in how many bags divided by 8 rows, because each bag has 8 rows. So 64 rows divided by 8 rows, it's 8. So we have 8 bags, 8 bags of rolls, right? So the number of bags of rolls times the cost per bag is the actual total cost. So 64 divided by 8 is 8. 8 times 130 is 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 30 cents is $2.40. So $8 plus $2.40 is $10.40. Okay, that's the answer for 7. So it's the number of bags times the cost per bag. Okay. Temperature, number 8. Yesterday's high and low temperatures were 50 Fahrenheit and 41 Fahrenheit respectively. What are these temperatures in degrees Celsius? So we have to use the formula. What's the formula? The formula for Celsius, because we have Fahrenheit, we have to compute Celsius. And Celsius is 5/9 Fahrenheit minus 32. So Fahrenheit is 50, 50 minus 32. So that's 5/9. And then we do 50, so 50 minus 32, which is 18, right? And then 18 cancels out with 9, so 5/9 times 18, 9 and 18 cancel out by 9, 9 divided by 9 is 1, 18 divided by 9 is 2, 5 times 2 is 10, so we get 10 Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius. This is the 50, that's the high, so that's the high, and the low would be 5/9 f, which is 41 now, 41 minus 32, or 5/9 times 41 minus 32 is 9, so 9 and 9 cancels out by 9, and you end up with 5, so this is 5 Celsius. Good, times 9, 9, 9 cancels out, so 5 Celsius is the low temperature. Number 9, sandbox. A civic group is building a sandbox that is enclosed by 1 foot wide railroad ties. The group needs to find the area inside the sandbox. So this area right here. To find the amount of sand needed, use the figure and the formula for area to write an equation that you can use to find the area inside the sandbox. So this is a square, and the area for a square is the side, let's say A, the side squared, or that is A times A, right? A times A. And what's the side? The side is not really 10, right? Because this area here is 10, and then we have to subtract this area right here and this area right here, and we know that those two is 1 and 1, so it's basically 10 minus 2, right? 1 and 1 is 2, so 10 minus 2 is 8, so this here is really 8. So the side is basically 10 feet minus 2 feet, right? So 10 minus 2, and then same here, right? This is also 8, or 10 minus 2. So write an equation. So it's basically this, right? So that's what it is. So if you want to solve it, it's just 10 minus 2 is 8 times 10 minus 2 is 8, or that's 64. And this is feet, so feet squared. Okay, so that's it for today. Please like and subscribe to the channel to see more videos. Thank you guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.